Hello. Goodness. Hello and welcome to Season 4, Episode 13 of Fabrically Speaking Live. I'm your host, Claire Rowley, inventor of the Creative Feet line of sewing machine products. And today we're picking up from last week's Fabrically Speaking Live, which airs every Thursday at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thanks for joining me, Brenda, Amy, also known as Better Days. Uh-oh. I hit it to turn it off and it turned itself back on. I think we're definitely having slow computers today. So crossing fingers, the show will go well and we won't have a lot of glitches. It's not... Okay, I think we're good to go. Hi, everyone. And here I thought it was going to be a smooth start. I knew what I was going to say and everything. Well, that's what I get for taking time off. I wanted to have a bag made before I even started, but still getting the hang of my new having to do some things at my house and some things at my studio. And even my chats aren't going through. Is Mercury in retrograde? Hello, Allison and Brenda. Let's see if I can. Did I miss anybody? Amy, Wendy, Brenda, Allison, and hopefully many more will join in. And it is a busy week for vacationing and also with school starting again. Last week I showed sewing some trims on using the Sequins and Ribbon Foot, which sews ribbons and different types of trims. And I am disappointed to say that the quilt highlights that I showed last week is at risk of not being available anymore. So we currently have a lot of colors in stock, but the company that purchased YLI has said that they're not going to carry this anymore, which means I will have to do a lot of work to bring it back. So if you were on the fence about getting any of this, you want to grab it now because we've got it now. And I actually have my top camera this week, so you can see how beautiful this is. And this is it in purple that I stitched on to this last week. If you missed last week's episode of Fabrically Speaking Live, just go ahead and I will be linking to last week's video in the description once this show is over, and they let me because it takes a little while for it to process. The bottom of the bag is going to be the dark blue where my water shoes will go, and you can see how dirty they get. So I always feel like, where do I put these filthy things? Do any of you do any type of river fun or lake fun and have water shoes that get really dirty and you feel like, gosh, where do I stick these? I don't even want to put them in my car. So what I'm thinking is it would be nice to not only have a bag to hold my shoes, but to keep them from getting the bag dirty should the bag actually get wet, or should the shoes be sopping wet. I don't want the bag to get wet, But I also don't like the car getting dirty, so I'm leaning toward creating an inner bag using our cover-up. And our cover-up is basically a vinyl. And it does come in 18-inch rolls and 6-inch rolls. I don't have any measurements because this is basically me designing the bag live with you guys. Not an uncommon thing for me to do. I also think that the bottom bag is much bigger than my shoes. And it would be kind of nice to have perhaps another pocket, and then the shoes go inside of this little loopy. So that, what do you think of that? I don't know, I've got this too tight. Let's see. There we go. And then I don't know, are my shoes big enough? So if you're wondering how big to make your bag, you want to make sure your shoes will fit. And it doesn't look like they're going to fit that way. Oh. So do I have to do them this way? Or I could add a little fabric to the side here to make this a little bit bigger. Or I could have it be a through and through, and the shoes just kind of hang there, and they don't actually go into a pocket. Then my shoes can be too big, and then they're not inside of an enclosed thing. What do you think? Add more fabric is complicated due to the fact that I have this trim stitched on. The piping isn't big enough. One of my cameras just beeped at me. Why is it beeping? It usually means it's not plugged in, so we don't need that to happen right now. Hold on one sec. Let me check to make sure it's powered. Dropping stuff. You shouldn't be looking for the battery. Oh, it was unplugged. Thank goodness it was simple. Okay. Oh my goodness. So what's been going on is since I have awakened today, since I awoke, all of my devices have been running really slow, as if there's something going on with the internet in our area, not just in my location. Have any of you had any issues seeing me? Am I getting out of sync, or is the video looking okay? It's got me a little off balance worrying about it. So if I guess I'm going to design the pocket to put my shoes in diagonally. They don't have to go straight up and down. I just need to make the pocket bigger. Getting tired of picking these up and getting sand everywhere. So I can just set them in at an angle, right? And if I have the opening, have an elastic opening, then I can just drop them in. Maybe that would be good. And then perhaps the top of the bag is too long. Or what if I go like this and make it a bigger bag in that way? And maybe it can go under like that. And then I can just have a insert pocket of the vinyl to drop my shoes in, and perhaps a double pocket for when the towel is damp. Yay, everything's good. Hi, Iris, how are you? It's been a while. I know that I was gone a long time. So what do you think? A wider bag, kind of a boho kind of shape instead of trying to do a long bag? I want to be able to see. Yeah, I can have a pocket and then sew down the middle so I have it divided. So I can put the dirty stuff in one side and maybe even throw in an ice pack in there for kombucha or bottled water. Let's see. I could use a smaller towel. And I know you probably want to see me sew a zipper, so I was trying to incorporate a zipper application today. I think that'd be nice. Shoes on one side, towel on the other. Come on, you guys. Whiter's good. And I wanted to play with the denim thread because the denim thread is very dramatic and great for top stitching. We have a variety of different colors. This thread will continue to be sold. At present, there are some colors that we are out of. And that is all because the company was just purchased by another company and they're still getting inventory from one state to the other. So I can make it cuter and have a colored fabric as the lining, or just have vinyl as the lining and be done with this episode quicker. Do that. The thing about using vinyl is you don't want to stitch through it any more than you have to, because everywhere you stitch creates perforation, which allows moisture to release. So if you are to stitch over or stitch anywhere on vinyl, you want to then use like clear nail polish to go over all the holes to seal them up so that you can have a watertight area. I feel like I'm talking funny today. Not big enough. Now I'm thinking. This is what happens when I don't have it designed before I go live. Now I'm designing it as I go and evaluating the process, or evaluating my needs, and then thinking about how it would be made. Do I really need the whole bag to be lined? No. I just really need, if I want to put ice pack in there, and if I want to have my shoes in there, I just need a waterproof pocket inside. And so I could have this pocket be in there, but if I have it at the top of the bag, it's going to kind of weigh down the bag. So I can stitch this to just one side, down low. Since vinyl doesn't fray, you don't have to finish the top edge of it. If you want, you could put a bias strip on there to make it look pretty. But it's not going to be pretty inside this bag when my dirty shoes are in there. I think I like that idea. I like the idea of having it divided in two and being able to put an ice pack in there and having room for my shoes. However, my shoes take up more room than I expected. So here we go again. Dirty shoes. I was going to wash them before I went live, but I didn't get a chance. So with a seam allowance allowed for on this side, I think I can sew a stitch going. Let me see, do I have this on the tight one again? Top is just too tight. There we go. So a 10-inch pocket, maybe less than that. We'll do a 9-inch pocket. I have these ice packs. See how long my shoe is. My shoe's about 10 inches, so 12 inches gives it a nice cushion area, and I don't have to use a big ice pack. So I think we'll go to the 9.5-inch mark on there. And I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and sew it strip down. Can't wait to get my buttons working again. I did some all day yesterday. I was filming, so know that I'm still working. And that was for the new channel, Beyond the Brushstrokes, which will be launching soon, and I will announce it on my newsletter and inside the school, createwithclairerowley.com. So now I just folded it and I'm creasing it. You could use my fabric presser, but you don't want to use an iron because vinyl will melt. Since the Sequins and ribbon foot is out, and because it is so much fun to play with this foot, instead of just doing a simple straight stitch to create a pocket, I'm going to sew a trim down on that fold, and that'll give it a little bit of something. A little finesse. I could even do something really shiny, but that's kind of a waste of a beautiful trim that should be used for something more exposed. Where did I put my yarn? There we go. So I'm going to take some yarn and stitch it down. That one, or this one, or should I do both? Should I do 3 possibly? I think 3 sounds good. Why not? If you can do, right? Are y'all having a nice day? Is it not too hot today? Arizona's cooling down a bit. We have our monsoonal flow that's kicked in and it's keeping us cool. This is August 3rd of 2023. It'd be nice if they stay lined up with the light green in the middle and then the blues on the outer side. See if I can make that happen. But first, I need to insert all of these into the guide on the foot. To do that, I'm going to use a piece of thread to assist in pulling it through the guide. I have this high level of static cling thing going again today. I'm letting go of this thread and it's taken off and flying. There we go. So 3 strands of yarn. We do have 3 different guides for this foot with different size openings. Vinyl actually adds to the static electricity in the room. Go in there. Thank you. All right, so I had that folded in half, so I don't want to pull it through. I love having the flexibility of all 3 of the feet in each project. Instead of just using one foot, I like to mix it up and use one of the exciting features of the foot, of each foot, in each project. I've never done this before, so I'm going to get the foot on the machine. I'm also hoping that this will assist in absorbing any moisture like a sponge should some water come out. There's my crease, and what I'm going to do is start about 1/4 inch in, selecting a 3-step zigzag stitch, which is a stitch that goes stitch, 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 and it advances towards you. But if you shorten your stitch length and widen your width, and I'm going all the way to 7 because this is a pretty wide amount of trim, and I'm taking my length down until the machine won't let me go any shorter. So a few stitches. In essence, we're stitching in place. I'm lifting up the foot. And I'm going to pull this forward. And what I'm trying to do, if I can remember how I do this, cut that off a little bit. And I want to, that holds the yarn in place. Now I can start back and go back. My business phone is ringing and I can't to turn it off. One of my favorite songs that you're hearing. If you can hear it, maybe you can't. All right, now I don't want it to sit still. I want it to advance. So I'm going to increase stitch length and monitor the 2 outer yarns, or kind of spread them apart, and the foot will bring them all together. Once again, this is a tricot stitch, serpentine stitch if you have the Bernina machine, the also known as the 3-step zigzag, and basically it's a one that is very popular when sewing elastic. There we go. Now it's going a little bit more to the left, so I'm turning this silver nut on the foot and moving the guide over, which moves the trim over to the sewing machine needle. There's so many things that they give you that have Velcro on it, and then it catches on your clothes. So now I'm just going to focus on sewing that straight line along the crease. Attaching yarns together while making a divider, and it's also could be used with a single a layer of yarn along the edge to add something to the edge of this pocket. Keep your focus on the line. I'll go all the way to the edge, and I'm going to back up, pull on the yarn, and back up. Pick it up, pull on the yarn, and back up. I could have also shortened my stitch length back down again. Isn't that pretty? And it lays nice and flat. Can you see that well? Isn't that gorgeous? And it's just 3 yarns that I had laying around. Now in the beginning, I didn't have it set up right. Remember, it was not quite lined up. So the yarn isn't attached, and I have the opportunity to go back and fix that now. Not having the trims through the guide, and just use it as a foot on top. This is also the foot used for elastic. So it's every size and style of elastic. Okay, so now I have a pocket. Wasn't that quick? Oh, I don't know what I just knocked over. Sounded like something. Now, even though I like this outer fabric the most, we did this nice trim on here. Almost feel like that could also be the side of the bag, you know? Did I work on that concept? I want to emphasize or have that show up, but I also want this to show up as well. So I think what I'm going to do is take this side down a little bit and not make the bag as deep. Does that make any difference, Claire? I have an idea. I'm going to secure this pocket before I go any further by just stitching a straight stitch along. Actually, I'm not going to use a straight stitch because straight stitch makes this more vulnerable. Having the 3-step zigzag makes it harder to tear. Lining up my seam allowance from where I had the trim. And this is a time when you can use the Satinedge foot. The Satinedge is the one that helps you guide straight. Has this guide with a wire on it. And you just turn the nut on this, and this little metal wire inside the foot changes position. So this is your top stitch, edge stitch, pin tuck, invisible applique foot, stitching in the ditch, 1/4 inch seam allowances. It's the one that helps you sew accurately using a straight stitch or a zigzag stitch. Now, because of the guide wire, if I use the multiple zigzag stitch, I'm at risk of hitting the pin on the foot. So when I use it, I'm not going to go as wide on the stitch. I didn't do a really good job of folding this vinyl. I'm moving the guide all the way over to the right so that the guide wire is lined up to the all the way far right of the Satinedge Foot's opening. And then instead of using the multiple zigzag stitch, I'm using a stitch that goes, it's a tiny zigzag that goes left and right, but when it does, it goes down and up and down and up. So instead of left and right, and it makes for a stronger stitch. Looks like a straight stitch on the outside, which I'll show you in a second. We gotta find some use for a zipper because I have zippers here. I was thinking about showing you the pretty zipper. If you guys want to see the pretty blue zipper attached somehow onto this, give me a thumbs up or say blue. We're talking about doing that burrito roll. Right, Brenda? What kind of roll we do? Hi, Claire, patient. Are you patient? I had to tell myself to be patient a few times today. Watching from Texas. Which part of Texas? I can't wait to have a place for my dirty shoes. This is what I decided I would do with the show is if I want something, I'm just going to make it and show you guys how to make it. I'm going to go ahead and stitch up and over the cords that are there, but I'm lifting it, what I call walking, lift and do a stitch. There we go. And back up a little bit. You said boom. That's so funny. Are you typing, Pamela? So it said boom instead of blue. All right, we're in agreement. We all want to do the pretty zipper. We aren't going to be doing the zipper though. We're going to be sewing the zipper. I also thought it would be fun to incorporate this for shoulder strap. It kind of has a nautical feel to it, but I could turn it into a piping and make a piping version of a strap and have it actually be covered. So covered or just open. So you can just say covered. And if I get a, well, choose. So plain cord or corded cord. Hi, Mom's Brain. What is your name, Mom's Brain? I have a bunch of sand on my surface. So I'm going to repeat what I just did on the other side. I'll give you a view of what I'm doing, because underneath here is a bunch of sand from my river shoes or water shoes. I did go in the river with my daughter and her husband and a bunch of her friends. It was a blast. Must say I was a little nervous knowing I was going to be paddleboarding on the river, but it was so calm. And we saw some beaver. Did you know that beavers, some of you probably do, flap their tail and make a tremendous amount of noise when they try to keep you away from their area? It sounded like a big boulder was thrown in the water, but it was a beaver jumping into the river as we approached. It's going to be a cool bag. I'm excited. Going paddleboarding this weekend. And I have a wet bag, but it's just an open bag. I like to have things in their proper place. Everything in its place. Oh, plain. Everybody wants it plain. I'm going to have to figure out how to do that. Probably do make some kind of an end for it and insert it into it, because we got to keep the ends from getting all looking like this. Unless we like that look as well. Kind of like that look. Okay. What do you think, guys? Have it be tasseled? That would be really cool. I could just tie a knot. Stitch it down across and then do it long enough so I can tie a knot. I want to make sure it's strong though, so I could have it attached that way on the sides. I'll tell you what, it'll be the easiest bag I've made in a long time if that's all you guys want. You're being nice to me. Hello, Picola, welcome. Long time. And Roxanne. Thank you for joining me today, you guys. It means the world to me. I've missed you. And Mom's Brain, what's your name? Did you ever say your name? I didn't get it. I love your little code names that you come up with. Tassels are cute. Now I'm like, do I have any beads in here? I could add some beads onto it. This is a river bag, but you know what? Maybe I won't just use it for that. So I'm going to go slow. I have the same stitch selected on the machine, which is an angled, very narrow zigzag, designed for lingerie. So if you've ever wanted to make your own slips, or if you've ever fixed a pair of leggings and your stitch broke, try this stitch instead. And see, I usually have a little notepad so I can draw the stitch. Let's see if I have it handy, then I can show you what the stitch looks like. Oh, I know where it is. I know where it is. Now I gotta find my mouse again. I need my buttons to work again. They had an update and it was all super exciting. We got an update, and after the update, they never worked again. And now there's another update, and I keep looking at the buttons. And if you don't know what the buttons are, it's called a Elgato Stream Deck, and they're awesome. They have little buttons, so I can switch cameras by just touching the button. I can mute my microphone if I need to sneeze, and these are not working right now because of an update. So I'm ready for that to work again. This is my the cover I chose to use for my writing. I just got to find the pins. For those of you who don't know, I did just recently relocate. So I am still adapting, trying to find everything. Not only did I move my business, but I also moved my, I forgot to switch cameras. Sorry. I know why I'm having trouble with that. There we go. This is a 4-part video series on my Fabrically Speaking Live playlist. And this is my doodle book. Not all my images are that good. and you'll see some of them are quite bad. And these are just ideas, things that I want to draw. Like, I have no idea who that is or that. And something I was, oh, this was me laying out my new space, trying to figure out how to make it work. And this is my little sound room here for voiceover. This is where my desk, this is where I'm sitting right now, right here. It's a very small space. Here we go. So this is the stitch that I'm using. It's a very, very, very narrow. In fact, on the measuring tape, or on a, it's about 1/8 of an inch. And it goes like this. So look on your sewing machine for a stitch like that. That's the stitch that I'm using to sew the vinyl on the, when I want to use a straight stitch. And when I sewed the yarn down, I used the tricot stitch, also known as this 3-step zigzag stitch. And for those of you who have the Bernina, it will look like this. Instead of being a Z, it's a U, and they call it the serpentine stitch. And each of these stitches are very hard to tear on fabrics that would normally rip easily, like vinyl and pleather. It's no fun if you sew something with vinyl and then it just falls apart. So now I have this pocket for my ice pack and my water, and oh, I can't wait to use this. See, I just need to complain. When you complain, this is what they tell inventors. If you complain about something, write it down and invent something. So that's pretty much how my mindset is, and this is what comes out of it. Should I, and I'm thinking I should, attach the pocket to one side or the other so that it stays to one side. I think I want it to stay to the back side. And while I love this, I also love this. So maybe I have it like that. Have it be on the bottom. So I have a little on both sides. There, now I'm not sacrificing as much. Oh, it's getting hot in here. Can't have the air conditioner on. Plain rope. I think it's great. Still want to put a zipper on for you. So let me think about that. We just need another pocket. Somewhere to put my keys. So once again, I have the Satinedge foot on, and I have the guide wire all the way to the right side of the opening in the zigzag area of the foot. And I'm going forward, and I'm going to go back to secure. We really want to make sure that this stitch is locked. I wonder what's going on with Carlene. I'm going to touch base with her. Tell you what, I am so refreshed after taking a vacation. I'm not going to wait 16 years to take a vacation again. This machine has a lock stitch, but I never count on just a lock stitch to secure something. Clip for my keys. My keys are pretty big. I have a mace thing on my key ring. So. I'm going to just secure it to this side. I mean, it's not like anyone's... No, I'm going to do the other side. Should anyone ever peek inside, we have the pretty yarn showing. So I'm going to sew it to the opposite I'm going to do that. Do you guys know how to sew? Maybe just leave it alone and not have it secure. I should give you a different thing to look at. So, trying to figure out how to attach it across the bottom. This would actually anchor the trim too. I'm looking to see which trim lines up with it, and the best one is the piping. It's going to make my pocket a little bit shallower, but not that much. And now it's another reason to use the pearls and piping foot. So, and it's something to think about. If you ever, whenever I say if you ever, I hear Lucille Ball in my mind when she would sing something. If you ever, I can't remember what it was. Do you guys remember what it was? If you do, write it in the comment. Let's all giggle together. Looking for pearls and piping foot. I had a whole bag of feet, and they dropped in my little organizer. So I have to search through. There aren't this many creative feet. There are only 3 for those of you who are watching, even though they do a lot. So this is a bunch of the same feet. A lot of Satinedge feet in here. Where's my pearls and piping foot? You'd think I'd have a lot of each foot. There it is. So there's the pearls and piping foot. And I am going to use a couple of the Clip It clips, which we were sold out of and did just get back in. So if you don't have our Clip It clips, they also clip on nicely to this. If you have, have all of you made one of these cubbies that have the octi hoops? I know I call it a cubby and it's really not. But the octi hoop, the shape of the octi hoop is what you cut your fabric to end up with a square shaped little cubby. And in this I used vinyl as well to line it, and it gives it more body, and if I get something in there I can wipe it out and makes it nice and sturdy. So the Clip It clips, these are bigger than the average clip. This, to give you a comparison of the Magic clip to a Clip It clip, you can see how much bigger they are. Not only are they larger, but they're easier to open. And they have markings on them, 1/8 inch and 1/4 inch, to help you line things up. The reason I'm going to position one of these, I want to do it at least in the very middle to keep it from moving, if this is the right thing to do. Yeah, I'll just do that. That'll keep it from moving. And I'll sew up one side and then take the clip out and then follow through. I'm going to go ahead and place the pearls and piping foot, which I have no idea where I just put it. I'm going to place it on top of the cording, and it will guide me perfectly straight because it rides over the piping that I sewed on last week. So if you want to learn how to sew piping in, this isn't just piping, it's double piping. I'm going to position it over this light blue piping and take my needle over because it looks like I have plenty of pocket to the left side. So if I can go over more, then I have a deeper pocket. Lots of pocket conversation here today. I have to sneeze. So that's why I muted my microphone. Right now, the Satinedge Foot is on the machine. Push the button to release the foot. And for those of you who are not aware, the Creative Feet do come with adapters that make it screw on to sewing machines if you don't have snap-on feet. And for those of you with the Bernina, you can use a low shank adapter like this, screw one of our little adapters on, and use our feet that way, and also use other snap-on feet with your Bernina sewing machine using our adapter. If you have a FOF, you'll remove your machine snap-on adapter, place our shortest one on your machine like that, and then you can snap our feet and all 7mm wide feet onto your FOF sewing machine as well. Isn't that cool? You're able to share your feet. On the Pearls and Piping Foot, there's a washer that slides left and right. So this is the original Pearls and Piping Foot. Where's a new one? This one does not have a washer on it. This is back in the day. This is older than 1994. Funny I found that. This is the new version. It has a little washer that slides left and right, and what that does is it changes the position of trim underneath your sewing machine needle and helps you by doubling your sewing machine's needle positions should you need to move your needle. I just unthreaded my needle on accident. I wonder if I can find my special clips that I have. As you're talking about that clip, I have key clips because I did plan on making some things like that. Should you be thinking that the liquid-based glue would make it easy to position the vinyl, it doesn't work for vinyl. I tried it before and don't want to mislead you into thinking you can. Straight stitch. So it's looking like the straight stitch is going to fall right on where I already did an attractive straight stitch along the side last week. If you want to see how you can top stitch around piped items, I'm going to bring my needle in a little bit so I have 2 rows of stitches, because why not? So now my hands don't even have to guide, because all I'm really doing is holding the fabric up. The clip's keeping it in position, and go ahead. Something just fell on my table. It sounded loud to you. Now I'm going to take the clip off. The clip that I had holding beneath. Put my hand underneath, make sure everything is straight. If you ever have an instance where the foot stops or slows down or seems to struggle, increasing stitch length is how you overcome something like that. And then the machine will do bigger, it'll pull the fabric further distance. Boy, I'm a little tongue-tied today. So as I'm sewing, I'm holding up the fabric, not holding down the fabric, which is the position that a lot of people are in when they sew. So try to rest my elbows on the table, and when I do, I use my elbow pads so that my arms aren't getting injured by any of the surfaces on the sewing machine table. This needle sounds bad. I can hear it. But I'm remembering there's vinyl, and that's probably all it is the vinyl. Making sure that vinyl stays lined up with the piping underneath. So now I have a secure pocket, which also gives me kind of like a little extra pocket within, next to the other pocket. And if I did it right, let me bring these edges together. We end up with the cordings on the bottom. Where can I put another pocket? So we have a zipper. What do I do with that zipper? Where did I put my zipper? I know, Amy, if you were here, you'd know where I put it. Haha, there we go. I have extra blue fabric. I already ironed and everything. I also have this, which I thought I could add in a pinch. But this is too pretty. I'm going to use it for something else. What should I use this for? Come up with an idea for me. I've ironed blue fabric for this purpose. There it is. Because I had to stand up and this sweater catches everything. It's a very small zipper. If I were to have the bag have a zipper, and I kind of want to just be able to throw things in it. I didn't want to have a closed top. What do you think? Do you think I'll regret not having it closed on the top? It's time is to decide. This is now. Sometimes you just want a bag you can throw things in, and we're going to have tassels. This is when I wish I could hear you. Oh, you did say it was in the drawer? Make a strap with a hook. I have that in my dog walking bag. I love that. I have the key to get in the front door, and it's always in my bag, so I don't have to think about it. So if I did a little drawstring that went all the way around, then I could cinch it if no, because then we're going to have this and tassels. I think I'm just going to do a fold over on the edge, and perhaps, I know I said I was going to do a zipper today. How can I incorporate that? Could do one of the side pockets. I'll give it a little bit of finesse. Oh, I haven't done one of these in a long time. My mind's thinking. Can you hear it? Can you hear the wheels going around? Also look at that and go, I could do like a patch pocket of this fabric on that side to add some beauty to it. Should I do that? I think I'm too tired to think that through. Let's see. Usually cut off the end. been too long. I don't want to do it in a haphazard way and then have you guys laugh at me about a snap closure. You know, all these things were in these drawers that were next to me at the old studio. All my closures, all my cute little clasps and things. They were all there. This is so pretty, it should be showing on the outside. The problem is that it's already been an hour and the air conditioner has been off an hour. And the temperature is elevating every few minutes. So I'm gonna start by thinking about how I'm gonna do the top. I could do a bias strip and go around, or just do a fold over thing and go all the way around and then attach the tassels and be done. That'd be a quick bag. And do something with zippers next week. Perhaps show more than one zipper next week. I can show how to do an invisible zipper and the decorative zipper. How about 3 zippers next week? I know this week what I'm doing next week, there's a chance that I'll get more done. Getting over the bump of the piping in a seam can be challenging. And what I like to do is use a pack of zippers, no, a pack of needles. That I know where they are. And you take the pack of needles and lift the foot and place the pack of needles below the foot. And what that does is it allows the foot to drop down and be off the feed dogs on the front. I'm also going to trim away the inner cord as much as I can on just the piping. They won't fray. When you raise the foot, you push up on your foot on the presser foot bar, the bar down here. Can't see it. I got to get this camera in a better angle. And that's how you can get up and under better. And then once the needle is on the fabric, we're going to go ahead and do a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Once again, I'm going to use that angled zigzag stitch. Is that what I want to do? No, I think I'm going to use the 3-step zigzag or tricot stitch or well, let's see. I'm so indecisive today. I'm doing that angled zigzag that I drew. Forgot to change the stitch. Go back again. Once again, doing what I call hopping. Sew a stitch, lift, push the fabric. And what we're doing is we're just helping get over the piping. There's 2 rows of piping on this. Once we get past that, it'll be easy to continue. Lift and sew. This is a teeny tiny little zigzag stitch. And I'm sewing the wrong side because I was going to do something else. I was going to sew wrong sides together. So I could do an enclosed seam. Now I have a dilemma. I've done it wrong. I didn't do my wrong sides together so that I could then turn it the opposite way and sew it again, which gives you a enclosed seam, also kind of known as a felt seam, or preparing to be a felt seam. And what if you don't have a serger? What do you do? Didn't know you could use the purls and piping foot to sew long seams. You can. Doesn't want to back up with this stitch. Other ways that I can clean up that seam. One way would be to use an overlock stitch on the sewing machine. I got all this, the ends of the trim got into the seam allowance. I could use the Satinedge foot and do an overlock stitch along the edge of that. I'm going to think for a minute. I don't like ripping out stitches if I can avoid it. I'm just going to do the same thing on this side. Make sure the foot is lowered when you do this. So this is me just ensuring that this is really good and secure at the bottom. Make sure that the needle case is not visible in the needle area, or you'll be breaking the needle on your machine. The feed dog starts to pull the needle pack out. You're thinking you need a little bit more time, you can tuck it back under, and then eventually it just pops out the back and you're ready to continue sewing. You do want to sew slow when you're going over multiple rows of cording as well. Yes, the French seam are correct. French seam, enclosed seam. The felt seam and the French seam are different, as the felt seam generally has 2 rows of stitching. I think I did the bottom wrong. I'm sure I did. I did it wrong. I'm not going to do that live. The brain wasn't kicked in. So what I did is I didn't have it laid up right here. So on this end I'm short. I caught it about 10 inches in, so I'm going to rip out this side. There's no fixing that without ripping out my seam. Now I just need to find the seam ripper that I barely ever use. And I'm getting too hot, you guys. Oh, maybe it's in here. Not in there. Stay calm. I found it. Do you guys find that you don't use seam rippers as much now that you have the creative feet? If you do a thumbs up. This is when I need my glasses, which I know I have a pair over here. Pretty sure. I had neat drawers. Now they're not. So let's see. It is 3:16. I am trying to make Fabrically Speaking Live only go 1 hour. So I could just finish this at the beginning of next week and not have it for the weekend. Be prepared to actually put a pocket on the outside, which I think I'd really like. So I just need to sew one, and then I will also show 2 other zipper applications. Maybe I'll make another bag to go in this bag for bringing fruits and vegetables to snack on, because I have been on a very healthy eating plan. I'm going to do that. I'm going to call it quits because I have other work to do today. And I'm actually feeling perspiration. Hi, Carlene. She's around. I was going to call you and check on you. It is going to be a cool bag, though, for my wet items after going on the river or on the lake. This will give us a little idea of how it's going to look. Has that nice little stripe trim on the bottom, which will give it extra body. And I'm going to make a pocket out of this fabric that's going to go on this side, and maybe I should do the same on this side. So both sides have a pocket, and do a zip, an enclose, or have one pocket. I don't know. We'll find out next week, as I will complete this next week, and it will be a special edition on zippers. Do any of you have any questions? You were here last week too? Ah, that's why you weren't in the chat. Well, it's not as hot as it's been in Arizona, but it is still hot. The monsoon hasn't arrived yet today, and it drops the temperature 10 to 12 degrees. Actually, last time on Tuesday, it dropped from 90 degrees to 63 degrees in less than an hour. It was so refreshing to go outside. Of course, it didn't take long for it to go back up to 73, and it stayed steady at that in Prescott, but got all the way up to the 80s again in Prescott Valley. It's a wild ride during the summer in Arizona. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask them. I'm about to end the show, and I will be back next Thursday again at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And all the cameras are working good now. I'm caught up on a lot of things. And I have been, I got a brand new computer, and the hard drive or motherboard was corrupt. I had to send it back. It should be due back here next week. And when it arrives, God willing, nothing will be wrong with it. And I will begin the first section of the Creative Feed Extensive course. For those of you who've been waiting for me to start that, and know that I appreciate your patience, as this was hands down the most challenging year of my life, as this is almost the anniversary of my dad's passing. And I cannot believe that an entire year has passed. I appreciate your support through all of this and this incredible transition, as after he passed, Tinkerbell passed, and then I had to move, was something else. And I survived it. It's amazing what you can survive with support of people who care about you. And I truly do care about all of you. You've been a warm part of me for 34 years now. And I love you so much. Those of you who are new to me and the Creative Feet products, please don't forget to join my school called createwithclairerowley.com. I will soon be starting a podcast as well, and another channel called Beyond the Brushstrokes. I'm pretty much going to just let it all out and do all kinds of creative things with you. am looking forward to seeing what you think about all of that. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I sure hope you'll do so today. See you in the school, I hope. Don't forget, it is createwithclairerowley.com. And I love you guys. See you in the school. Bye. I'm still here, you guys. Thank you for welcoming me back. It's nice to be back. I feel like I'm going to get really good at this at some point. Love you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday and a fantastic weekend.